Hello and welcome to this brief encounter with BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the network of countries which are recognized to be emerging and rising economies. BRICS emerged as an acronym for these countries, which although were not as developed as the advanced industrialized countries such as United States, Great Britain, Australia, France, Germany, but in their own league, they were rising at a faster pace than, let's say, Bangladesh or Iran, and therefore they were recognized to be emerging economies. In 2010, BRICS contributed 18% to global GDP. In 2021, this contribution rose to 26%. In contrast to the European Union's, which contributed 15.2% to global GDP in that same year, 2021. But researchers and experts state that this growth of BRICS is not attributed to the economic growth of the individual countries which form BRICS, but rather the exponential growth of a single country, which is China. In 2021, 70% of the total of BRICS' GDP came from China. And then in January 2024, this year, BRICS announced its expansion, and it will now include members such as Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Ethiopia, and United Arab Emirates. All this goes to show that BRICS is evolving and changing, and it is no longer limited to include only emerging or rising economies. But where is this change taking it? What is the direction of this change? Since BRICS forms a part of the new international economic order, how is this change going to influence and affect the international economic state of affairs? And that is what we are going to find out and look into in this video. In addition to the new development bank, the NDB, or the contingent reserve arrangement, the CRA, there are three more ideas which are in the pipeline for BRICS. The first is the BRICS Bridge Multisided Payment Platform. Second, the unit. And third, the BRICS Ratings Agency. As the name suggests, the BRICS Bridge Multisided Payment Platform is a payment platform which connects the financial networks of the member countries, allowing them to make settlements using central bank digital currencies, also known as CBDCs. What are CBDCs? CBDCs are a digital form of a country's fiat currency, which is issued by the central bank. Fiat currency is banknotes and coins. CBDC uses blockchain technology like cryptocurrency, but unlike crypto, which is unregulated and fluctuates depending on demand and supply, CBDCs are controlled, monitored, and regulated by the central bank. Its value is the same as that of a country's fiat currency. But while crypto is not backed by the government, CBDCs are backed by the government. It is useful as it increases the accessibility to financial services of those who, for instance, don't have bank accounts. According to Russian news agencies, CBDCs are going to be useful and convenient for transactions not only between governments but also between citizens and businesses of countries which are members. Now we move on to the unit. The unit is a currency within a decentralized monetary fractal ecosystem. To understand what that is, we need to start at the core. At the core of the ecosystem is the unit node, which is an online entity containing a basket of assets, and it is linked to an offline hub. Each unit node corresponds to a country which is a member of BRICS, and each member country has a basket of assets, which is known as the reserve basket. This reserve basket constitutes gold and the local currency. An important feature is that each unit node is a scaled down replica of the whole ecosystem. And this is what we mean by fractal. The entire ecosystem is made up of nodes, and each of these nodes replicates in a proportionally smaller scale the character of the entire ecosystem. Yes, new nodes can be launched in new jurisdictions, and each node can mint a minimal quantity of unit tokens, which is the currency. This makes the minting decentralized, which means no single country has complete control and influence over the unit. So, political situations arising in a single country which is minting the unit may not necessarily have an adverse effect on the value of the unit because other countries are also minting the unit. This is what we mean by making it apolitical. But considering the disparity between China and the other BRICS countries, if minting of the unit and voting rights are all proportional to the reserve basket, then it provides greater leverage and influence to China over the other BRICS countries. Experts suggest, and they are of the opinion, that the unit can be operational by 2025. Providing an alternative global currency, it has the potential to play a major role in de-dollarization alongside CBDCs. De-dollarization refers to a move away from, or rather a fall or a decline in the use of the dollar as a standard currency in international trade, which it is right now. The dominance of a currency is a reflection of the influence exercised by its country. So de-dollarization also implies a fall in the influence exercised or control or authority exercised by the United States on the global stage. And while the unit and the use of CBDCs will provide an alternative in international trading for other countries, they are especially useful for countries such as China, Russia, and Iran, for whom the dollar has been limiting and restricting. The dollar has been used by the United States and the West to keep a check on these countries, to control these countries, to lay down regulations and guidelines on these countries. With the availability of an alternative currency now in international trade, these three countries particularly will have greater opportunity in on the international economic stage. They will have greater freedom to pursue their economic interests. The third concept is the BRICS Ratings Agency. China and Russia have expressed concern that independent Western credit ratings agencies such as Moody's, Standard & Poor's, Fitch, also known as the Big Three, have been pressured to undervalue their businesses, which in turn has made it more expensive for these countries to attract foreign investment. On the other hand, these Western credit ratings agencies have also been seriously and heavily criticized since the 2008 financial crisis. The BRICS Ratings Agency would carry out its own independent financial evaluations of companies, and it would involve the New Development Bank, or the NDB. Experts suggest that for the BRICS Ratings Agency to be different from the Western model, it would have to be based on an investor pays approach or an investor pays model, as opposed to the currently followed issuer pays model. In an investor pays model, an investor would subscribe to the ratings of the agency, and these subscriptions would be the source of revenue for the ratings agency. In the issuer pays model, which is being followed currently, the source of income for the ratings agencies is derived from the companies which it is rating. So there's a conflict of interest. And this model has been critiqued, and that is why experts suggest the other approach for the BRICS Ratings Agency. But this concept and this idea of a ratings agency is further down in the pipeline because it requires greater consensus. compared to, say, the unit or the BRICS bridge, which seems to be in the near future, which seems to be materializing, or which seems to be conceptualized more concretely in the near future. The future of BRICS and the impact of BRICS on the global economic state of affairs is significant not only for these countries which form it, not only for the member countries, but also for developing countries across the globe which need help, which need economic aid, which need financial tools for economic growth, as it provides an alternative to dependence on the West. Now, instead of only depending on the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, which are dominated by the United States of America or Western countries, now there is an alternative from where economic and financial help and tools can be sourced for developing countries to further their economic growth. And when help is given, there is a trade-off. So there is a stark difference between, or we are hoping that there will be a stark difference between what is demanded from these developing countries in return for providing the economic help. But that is where critique and doubt lies, whether BRICS is going to be able to provide a truly different alternative, or is it just going to be a replication of the dominance that we saw from the West. While these models of payments and transactions might yet be underway, we can see their geopolitical influence and impact in the fact that BRICS is expanding to include new members, and there are other countries which have voiced their desire to join. So the influence of BRICS is not, even though it might have been limited to emerging economies, or it might have been a network of emerging economies when it emerged, when the word was coined and when it was initially recognized, it has expanded. Its influence has expanded. Its membership has expanded. And what it aims to do on the global stage at large is also changing and evolving. And I suppose the most significant aspect of all of it is the question of whether BRICS is going to be able to challenge the Bretton Woods institutions or not. And how far is this concept of the alternative to the Bretton Woods institutions going to take and going to succeed? Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe if it was helpful. See you next time.